I just realize that I need to make some implicit premises of mine explicit about who rules the world today. Because of my release of the document about who or how the new religion is going to work with the existing religions, their power hierarchies, and who are the apex, pinnacled leaders, true leaders of those organizations, and that may not always be the leaders that are at the top of the publicly visible hierarchy. And that in itself may be a new perspective to many that will have to be elaborated and substantiated further for probably a lot of people to be able to agree to it. But what's more is that I need to discuss the reason for me believing that these groups are the real powers in the world. That the elites, as they are referred to, the bankiers, the banking families, the money power, the deep state, that the non-religious parts are not in charge. Not really. What I mean is that, okay, they may be, and they may have been so for a long time, and the churches and the hierarchies of Islam and of Judaism and of Buddhism and all the other organized religions, that these, and also all the groups in between, Theosophists and Rosicrucians and other groups, Satanists certainly, that those groups aren't really in charge, but they are. Okay, I'll try and explain it. Obviously, in a world where God is immanent, which means he is present, he is visible in the world not just in our minds and in our fantasies, as it were. If everyone can see God is present, then there is no doubt that God is the ultimate, will be perceived by everyone as the ultimate authority. And obviously the religions will take their power from that, because they are aligned with God. If they are. And of course, with the actual God, with an actual God present in the world, it will be, they will surely do a much better job of triangulating all of their teachings and their ethics and their values and their positions on everything accordingly. But in the absence of an immanent God, these structures, they cannot wield the power that they potentially have. It becomes latent. So other groups become the true power elites, and thus we have the bankers, financiers, the military-industrial complex, politicians, the elite families, the Rothschilds, the Wallenbergs, the Venetian nobility, or the grey nobility, I believe they're sometimes called, those families, the 13 families. But they are usurping that position of power hegemons, because the religious segment has vacated their position, their natural position as intermediaries between God and humanity. Which was their claim to relevance and authority. And many people accept that claim. You should not forget that. So they do have a lot of power. But they don't have as much power as they could have. So they have a lot more latent power than their actual power. And if they were to assume their potential, their latent power, they would immediately subsume, eclipse. They would immediately eclipse those who are the power hegemon currently, and who have been so for a long legacy period. So when I don't really consider these temporally oriented, these non-religious groups as the real power, even though they are. That is because of the what is the term? Immanentization of God's presence in the world. It changes everything. It turns everything on its head. Not on its head, but it certainly rebalances the power balance. And that is what is going to happen now with the spread and growth of the new religion, because the religious organizations, the world religions, and all the other ones, they are going to, in a cascade, realize that we have a new reality. God is actually about to manifest. And not just as prophecy, but we can see the process now, how it is going to come about. And that makes it operational. And that means that these religious organizations that have worldwide grasp and reach and impact, they are going to be bumped up in importance and in influence. But only as far as they draw that influence from the introduction of the new religion and me as its head, its leader. And that's why I discuss how the new religion is going to deal with all these religious groups, and I don't really discuss how it's going to deal with all the other groups of power elites, because their role is going to be shifted to several rungs lower on the power ladder. So that should clarify this. And this video comes on the back of another video which I just recorded about my biases and subjective interests likes and dislikes, and how that is going to be an issue that is an issue that has to be dealt with in an intelligent and responsible manner. And this whole project goes out leaning over from the starting point. We have to keep this in an upright position. So we have to weight those biases, which I inherently, as a living human being, made out of flesh and bone, as well as spirit and soul, has. So I made a video about that, and I am also releasing concurrently this document that I just mentioned, and now I have also released or published this video explaining why my focus on certain groups as the power elites to be reckoned with, being the religious elites, and not the monetary or military or political or in other ways ideological elites who the status quo hold the power, who are the power hegemons in the world. So that should explain this connection, and I will therefore end this video here. I'll just remind everyone that I release my videos on free video sharing platforms on Rumble primarily, and then on Odyssey, and then also on YouTube. And I should mention also that YouTube still gets a preference because the videos there get subtitles. Some of them still only have automatically generated subtitles, but some also have manually edited, redacted subtitles, and I hope that they will also get to have proper translated subtitles. So this video is now ready to be published, and I'll see you in the next video.